It's 4:23 p.m. on Wednesday, November 4th. I haven't written any words yet. I need to have a bath. I was organizing my favorites. I can't watch this video yet. Review M Train by Patti Smith. Even though she probably won't spoil it, it's just I want to experience the book for myself. And I'm reading it right now. But I love her reviews. Climb the Stacks does such great reviews of books that I'm interested in as well. So yeah, she's a big fan of Just Kids as well. The other memoir Patti Smith wrote, and me too. And that was a lovely video. And then I had to rebump up this one because this is so well done. The vlog, A Day in the Life by that girl with kicks. But what I did was reorganize all my vlogging things. I don't know why. 2006, 2007. Anyway, I'm procrastinating because I do have to bathe. I was shown a link that I didn't notice at first. Let me see. I was told to go look at something. Oh yeah, it's this. And this is this is true. It is totally true, and I'm glad psychologists are finally saying something, because it seems nobody will speak up to WSIB. Nobody will speak up to, nobody speaks up for injured workers except injured workers, and we're just not heard. We're not heard by our former co-workers. We're not heard by our former unions. We're not heard by our former, we're kind of like, people don't want to think about us because they don't want to be us, and also they don't understand it because you get sick at work, or you get a cut or something or whatever, and they're like, just get over it, go to work. I sound like myself saying that, get over it, because basically people would like you to just not cause a fuss. And then people saw when I went through at like age 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, before they pulled me finally out of the factory after my first initial claim was recognized. I was just left to, they were hoping I would just leave or something. I couldn't afford to. Anyway, this is very triggering for me, but yeah, I ended up with a secondary psychological claim, but it isn't, let's just say that my initial injury was late 90s, with a permanent skin condition, allergy thing from the chemicals that we worked with, chemical exposure. And then I ended up with the psychological developing, and then it was further aggravated because they just sort of put me through hell for a number of years, till 2013 when I was finally able to have a half win. Nobody understands. People think you're just on... People don't understand that how this organization works. They don't get it. They think it's... they don't get it. I don't understand it, And people don't really ever understand it till they go through it. But the red tape, everything you go through is hell. It's hell. They want you to give up, go away, or die. And I know I sound mean because I've just, because I'm now, I'm being paid, but I'm not being paid what I should be, and it took so many years, and I lost so much, like, physically, mentally, health-wise, my health and opportunities. I was so young, when this started. If they had handled me in the appropriate way that they should have and could have, not only could I have avoided such a severe psychological impairment, secondary impairment, but I could have also had, a career path again. They should have done what they were supposed to do, and they didn't. And I have paperwork that says that they messed up from their own files, their own memo, that when I got a copy of my file, it's buried at the very bottom and not allowed to be used in any of the, oh my gosh. And as far as doctors and their specialists going against what the psychologists and the doctors and the medical professionals say, that's definitely a thing. Definitely a thing. Heck, they would even go against, if they had someone on their staff, which I have paperwork, which they would say something that was in my favor as far as, yes, she is impaired due to what obviously being left in the factory, and or, you know, as a consequence of this, which does point toward it being WSIB's fault. They still, the case adjudicator or whoever was, or the whatever their name is, case manager or whatever, would still come back with a nope. It's not. They would go against their own doctors, but usually they're medical professionals, or not medical. Whoever they have that goes over and makes decisions aren't medically qualified like the people that you are forced to see all the time, whether they're your own, or, I mean, the countless appointments, everything. It's like, anyway, it is a big impact. They are unable to cope. Their family's affected. Their self-esteem gets eroded. Yeah, if you're lucky to still have a family as you go through this, if you're even lucky to have anyone, all you had to do was submit a couple of forms. Nope, not anymore. After the 1990s, it became worse. It's catastrophic. And yeah, the taxpayers are paying, because while you are not paid the benefits from being injured at work that you're supposed to be paid, that's an insurance that corporations, businesses pay so that they can't get sued for you getting hurt on the job. So they're paying, money so that you can't sue them. And in return, you will get benefit covered if you, of course, are legitimately injured. Well, instead of paying you that, they don't pay you, and they put you through hell. And then many people end up on the system of, like, what we used to call welfare. Or if you can battle it out, you could qualify for disability in your province, which again is still like such an experience to go through when you were just working prior to. You're reduced in self-esteem. You've lost your identity in the job market. You've lost your identity as a person. You're looked down on within people who don't understand what's going on, and because people would assume, well, if your claim was legitimate, why aren't you paid? Wouldn't you be paid? They don't understand that you have to fight for it, or outlast, or live long enough. So I'm very happy to see, well, not happy, you can hear my voice, I'm like falling apart. This is so upsetting to me now, and I know I'm paid. I am paid now a monthly income. And some of these people commenting are still in the fighting process, or may never get a reply. I never get approved. But it says here, it's supposed to be somewhat challenging to get approved. It filters out the lazy that can return to work but would rather stay home. Such bull crap. I mean, that's falling back on the old theme where, there was this big thing about welfare fraud, and turns out it was only 2%. There's a higher percentage of people in the corporate world taking our money, or using up people's pensions, or the bank thing, the mortgage thing, that whole thing that happened that collapsed, compared to, we always look to the poor and the disadvantaged and say, no, they're the criminals, they're the ones doing all the things wrong, that's why. If you're an injured worker, what would you rather be? Do you know how hard many of us work to stay in our workplace? To go back to work over and over again, re-injuring ourselves, re-traumatizing ourselves, because we would rather that than the stigma of being unemployed, or the stigma of being unable to keep our job and take care of ourselves, or the hardship of going through poverty. And I am so upset now. 4:32 p.m. I really should not have. I've been invited to go to injured workers meetings for a long time now, since I moved back here, and I really want to, but I feel like, on one hand, I feel guilt because I have a resolution of my claim finally, and many of the people don't. And on the other half, I also feel very triggered by this still. I mean, I can't. They approve a minor part of a claim and deny the rest. Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's, same. I wrote a comment, but I'm just going to show you guys. It's totally not going to be a NaNoWriMo vlog now, because I'm going to have to make this into its own vlog. Okay, paperwork I've kept. I can't even go through it right now. I would not. This is my paperwork, ongoing files, medical files. This is like the files from W.S.I.B, my doctor's notes, various going over reports of me. The paperwork, there's copies of the material safety data sheets that are directly connected to the skin condition I had that showed that and other side effects I would have that are connected to some of the health issues I have now, but they don't want to do it. The LMR program, this bull crap where they pay more money that they should have paid to the worker to a outside company to watch you go to school, and it's just bull crap. And it doesn't lead to anything. All this, every single sheet, every time called, they're misinterpretations of freaking everything. They're back and forth talk. The one assessment I can't even read, I'm shaking just at the thought of it, where the one lady, it's like 10 years later, whatever, and she says something about how she doesn't even, she even doubts that I had a skin condition. My hands were hamburger meat. Literally, they were, you could see the white cells moving about. It was so bad that work sent me home. I was off for 9 months. It's a nightmare. And then I have more here, you know. My hearing was finally scheduled when I moved away from Toronto. Various things. And you 2009, 2008. 2008? More. You know, this is when I had a representative. And it continues. Oh, my back, I can't stay like this. What is this? I had to move out. It's hard. That isn't the only one. These are my files, my personal files that I had kept when I started to have to go on sick leave. So I've also got a copy of all my first aid reports from first injury, a copy of the stuff I researched on my condition, because I wanted to know. I was actually high functioning. I not only lived on my own since 17 and had the job since I was 16, but I was a part-time quality auditor, or used when they needed me. I was a hard worker when I was there, as they said, and I was elected into a union position at one point. So I wasn't dumb or stupid at the beginning, or not that I'm dumb or stupid now, but I can't function as well. But then there's a start. You're going back and forth to the doctors for doctor's reports for everything, and then you see the increasement of it, and then you see the hospitalization start. You see the fighting with the insurance company, you know, that you have benefits with your work. You see them going back and forth regarding W.S.I.B, all this, 2007. And then here's even more. Guys, I wanted it to not be for nothing. I kept journals, as you can see, paper journals. And these paper journals are not just my disastrous love life, or love lives, or the things that I've had to do when I've been in poverty, or my constant low self-esteem berating of myself. But there are my attempts to go to work, my telling myself that I can go to work, I will work hard, I will make money, I will get my life together, I will be okay. Me trying so hard. And that's what a lot of those are. Me feeling like so bad. Me wondering when things would change, when I would get help, when they would, thinking that they would do what they said, that they would approve my claim, because I certainly had the medical documentation and evidence that they were going to, that it was going to change my life. And it carried forward all throughout these years, and through trying to have relationships trying to live my life, because you can't just only, it is the only thing in your life. I mean, your income, but it can't be, you know? There are so many people online so angry, so, because they're fighting. I mean, imagine if I'd had children or a family to try and take care of, you know, if I'd done the usual factory route of many people who have settled down or have kids, and they, you know, they're working, then they get injured. They lose their families. They lose, they can't keep the house that they bought. They can't keep, they can't take care of anything. I was on my own, but I had my cats, my 2 cats that I had at the time, Lion and Hagrid. Thank God I had them, because they stopped me from stepping in front of a transport truck. They stopped me from giving up completely, you know. And now it's been so many years that now they're both dead now. I can't talk about this anymore, but that's what looking at that article did. So I feel like I should be part of the movement to, like, get injured workers' voices heard. And then I also still feel so broken inside about it, and I'm working on getting better, but I've got the physical issues I have to take care of. I was in the middle of DBT for the 2nd time, because I had it years ago, and I think it's great. And then I needed 2 blood transfusions. But of course, my health issues are unrelated to these other health issues, are unrelated to my claims, of course, or to the years of poverty and stress and anything else, or the chemical exposure or any after effects. Of course, it's all separate. You know, it's all bullshit. They mess you up, and then you have to feel so grateful when you receive your check, and so fearful that they'll take it away. Even when they lock you in, you feel terrified forever. And I'm just trying to make a life beyond this, beyond what they did, you know, beyond the trap. I would like to write a book one day, or do a vlog series. I'm going to put this as part of the vlog series, but I cannot do it very often. I'm just going to say that, because it wrecks me. It wrecks me. I can't, psychologically, what I went through with these guys, I couldn't even, when I lived in Toronto and I was working at a very prominent tourist spot in Toronto, I had to walk by the WSIB office, and I had to see the sign of them while I was still in appeals, waiting and waiting and waiting. And the feeling I had in my guts when I go by that office is just, I can't even tell you. So, thank goodness psychologists are speaking up. Thank goodness. Thank goodness the ones who have to deal with people who are going through it, or people like, or one that will deal with me down the road again, still, while I'm trying to live my life, you know. I'm in my freaking late 30s now. I was like in my early, I was around 20 or younger when I was first injured. Yeah, that's most of my life, okay? So, yeah. I gotta go. I could not hire a lawyer. I couldn't even... yeah. It's... Wow, this was a long thing. If you've gone through WSIB or the W.S.I.B or any related workers' compensation thing, I mean, let me just say, if you cut your finger and it's cut and dry, that's it, you're paid. If it's very simple, okay. If it's complicated, and if you then later develop a secondary psychological impairment, it is a nightmare. It is a nightmare.